If I hadn't said it before, I want to say it now. Thank you for the information on Henrietta Lacks to Miss Mary Brown. I want to get into the world events, what's not being talked about too much or not at all, or what you don't know or not taken serious. In Westchester County, outside of the New York City area, downstate New York, we have an Indian nuclear plant that they tested the groundwater, all right, and it is came up 65,000, and I say 65,000, 65-000% radioactive. 65,000% radioactive contaminated. That's serious. They're not reporting on the news or talking about it, but that's something everybody should be taking serious. We've seen that they lied in the past, they've lied in the present. Everything is one big lie. So technically, take it that if they're telling you that it's 65,000% contained, that's a lie, and you're gonna have to just 10 times fold that. We have earthquakes in various places, Taiwan, the Midwest, California, everywhere that they're not explaining and talking about. We have sonic booms and stuff happening in between the Long Island area, all right, and the South Jersey Shore. But then they'll go out and report it to you that it was one in Maryland, which has nothing to do with that area, if you know anything about the ripple effect. We have Israel finding oil, but they're not telling you that. They're still acting like they need money and help and all this other stuff, but nobody can figure out why in the heck all this stuff is going on. We know what's going on in Syria, but now we're finding out that for years they've had this oil in Golan Heights, never told anybody, and then we're also finding out that these same people have done atrocities and tricked people up through the years because they're actually not the real people. They come from a Khazarian tribe called the Khazarian people from a tribe called the Serpent people, which if you look up the Serpent Mound and all that stuff that's in Columbus, that's in Ohio, they were the red-haired giants in the second and third. That's why you see a lot of them, they're really big. And you know, they wear all the black and all that other stuff and humongous hands. That was them. They converted 1,400 years ago. And with that being said, they're not also telling you about the Russian compound on the west side of Jerusalem, because nobody never goes to Israel or has the money to go. But if you do, go to the west side of Jerusalem. Then we see prophecy coming true. It started with the treading of the Gentiles in Jerusalem. It started with the earthquakes and the changings of seasons. We're seeing spring where it should be winter. We're seeing plants growing where there should be leaves falling and not blooming. We're seeing earthquakes and all this other stuff happening where it's never happened before. We're seeing in India and other places where temples that's been there since the beginning of God knows when falling, all the pagans. We see the false preachers actually coming and helping out with the weaving by being false prophets and lying and setting lies out there. We see the blasphemy even with the politicians. We can see the blasphemy and the slander and the rudeness even within some of the stuff that Donald Trump says. And what happens? People cheer for it. So let's take that etymology and take it back to Rome, when they used to stick the people in there for the lions to eat, and people would go like, yeah, seems like this world has taken God out of it, put more perverse stuff in it, and they praise you by more evil and evil thinking and characteristics that you carry than they do godly. So what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with us as a people being whole? Because what does a tree in your body have that's the same? A tree has roots, bark, leaves, and limbs that all carry an attribute and a meaning and a definition to bear one fruit. Your hand needs your arm, and your body needs your arm and your hand in order to reach and have a function. Your ears and your eyes work together with your mind to speak the words that you say. Your feet and your leg need your body in order to carry it when they walk each day. So with all that, that makes one person, one body, one tree to bear one fruit. All right, with different many attributes. So if you have a yellow, green, if you have people of just different races, tongues, and nations, one person can do something that the other person can't, but they have a good understanding and love for that one understanding and whatever they're doing. Why? Because they both believe in the Messiah and the Christ, and they bear one fruit. So if a black person can do something that a white person can't, he'll go in here and they'll work together, because that white person can do something that a black person can't, and the Asian can do something that the white and the black person can't, but they're working together underneath one understanding, one love of righteousness before the Messiah and the one true God Yahweh. By them doing that, they all have different attributes and roots and limbs and leaves that work together as one tree to bear one fruit. And this is coming to time with all this stuff going on, that people are going to have to take either the characteristics, the mindset, the actions of the beast, and they go this way, or all work together underneath the characteristics and the sign of God by bearing it. I'll break down what it means to bear the cross and do all this other stuff. All right, because it even tells you in Corinthians, those that talk about mysticism and a lot of other stuff, even though that does play a role, but if they try to say this and then the glory and the shine and do all this showing off stuff, they lose the power of Christ. They can have the words and do all this stuff that they want to. It's just a folly, because they're already set to perish. All right, and I explained that with the Paul Begley thing. So with that being said, we all work together as one fruit, become the seed of Jacob, so we may have double the portion as one, all right, in unity, to bear this one fruit with as one body with different limbs and attributes for different meanings, because everybody has their own way and their own style of doing something. Everybody may think different, but as long as we know that we all love Christ and we work together and we know the truth and not being deceived and come together, because there is going to come a time where, you know, we might have to go to those who love Christ and God that are Christian, white, or black, because they might have some attributes of something that we need to work together as a whole. But what makes us whole? The love of Christ and the love of God, because we renewed our mind, our actions, and we don't look at each other for who we are. We look at each other as one under that love and righteousness. Bingo.